Whether you're taking photos of your kids, cluttering your phone with selfies, or simply sharing your travel photos, these iPhone tips might be just what you need to get all the likes. Stay tuned. Hey there guys, welcome back to NorthFern Production, the channel that takes you behind the scenes of all things content creation. My name is Ryan Lund, and every day more and more photos are taken with the iPhone, and today is no exception. So with that in mind, we're going to be counting down 10 things that you may or may not be doing that can make your iPhone photography all that much better. Starting off with tip number 1 is use your iPhone's lock screen to actually open your phone. Down in the lower right hand corner of your lock screen, you'll see a tiny little camera button. If you put your finger on that and swipe directly up, you will actually open your camera on your phone a lot faster. After all, you don't want to be missing that really important shot. Second tip we got for you today is to use the rule of thirds when you're taking photos with your iPhone. If you actually go into your phone's settings and scroll down to Photos and Camera, you can turn on the grid, which will turn on the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is something that photographers use very commonly to make sure their shot is well composed and is aesthetically pleasing. If we put things on any of the 4 corners of the rule of thirds, or even center framed, depending on the subject, we'll get something that just feels kind of right to us. Tip number 3 we have today for you is shoot things from a lower angle. Everything we see is from the angle we stand at. We see everything from kind of a flat, like straight on kind of perspective. But if we get a little bit lower or a little bit above even, we can get some really interesting angles on some things, such as your pets or even like food photography. So try that out, get a little bit lower than your subject, and you might find some really interesting stuff. Tip number 4 is find really interesting light. Whether it's a 3-point lighting system like I have going on here, or some really cool like rays coming through the trees, or even like neon signs or something. Finding really interesting light is a great way to make your photos a lot better, because without light, photos are nothing. Tip number 5 is use the HDR feature of your camera. If your iPhone does happen to support it, and most of the later models do, using HDR will allow you to capture more of the shadows and more of the highlights in one image. This can make the post-processing easier, and then you can take something like this photo and turn it into something like this photo. And I did this using the editing program Snapseed. Tip number 6 I got for you today, guys, is ditch the flash. Completely avoid using the flash on your iPhone if at all possible, because the iPhone flash is super harsh, and what you're gonna end up doing is overexposing anything in the foreground and not being able to see anything in the background. And that's not for everything, guys. If it does come between getting your shot and not using the flash, by all means, use the flash to get the shot, otherwise you may or may not regret it. Our 7th tip today is hold down the shutter button for really fast-paced things. So when you're about to use your camera on your phone, if you click and hold the shutter button, you'll actually take multiple exposures of whatever you're taking pictures of. So after you've taken all the photos, you can actually go in and select each individual one that you'd like to keep, and then tell your phone what you want to do with the rest of them. Maybe you want to delete them, maybe you want to store all of them, maybe you're doing some sort of time lapse. But this feature will help you get really great shots, whether you're shooting sports or maybe trying to get like everyone's eyes open in a photo or something. Just holding and bursting off a couple of them, make sure no one's blinking or that everyone's looking the right way. Tip number 8 is the button on the phone screen is actually not the only button you can use to capture photos. If you turn your photo to more of a landscape portrait and use the volume keys on the top of your phone, they can also act as the shutter button. This is really useful for getting those steady shots with a landscape portrait instead of having to touch the button on the side of the screen. Tip number 9 today is use editing apps. Whether you're using Snapseed, Lightroom Mobile, Prisma, or even the Instagram editor. All of these apps have awesome presets or professional features that you can use to really like kind of tweak the fine things in your image and get them absolutely perfect. Sometimes you can even overdo it a little bit, but I like that style personally. Like, here's a photo, and here's the edited photo, and the edited photo is like, it's a little overdone. It's way touched up, but I kind of like that style, and other people like that too, especially on things like Instagram. My personal favorite is Snapseed because it has lots and lots of professional features. I've taken photos like this and made them into photos like this. This photo even was edited on Snapseed, so super awesome stuff over there. My other favorite at the moment is Prisma. It's all preset stuff, but they're really cool. Check out Prisma if you guys got a chance. And our final tip of the day is tap to focus. If there's something in your shot that you want to get a really shallow depth of field on and show just that one thing, not only can you do things like in Snapseed and stuff to like blur certain parts of your image, but you can actually just tap on your screen before you even take the shot and your camera will focus to that certain spot. Take it, for example, this image right here, I got the roof rack on my car when I first installed it right after it had rained. And I thought it looked really cool with all the raindrops on it, so I just tapped right there on the front of the image and everything else is a little bit blurry. Totally awesome effect, something that you don't really get out of the iPhone too much unless you force it. So there you have it, guys, 10 iPhone photography tips that you may or may not know. If you liked this video, please be sure to leave a like, and if we missed anything that you think is super important, leave it in the comment section below so you can tell the rest of the world. Subscribe to the channel if you like seeing this stuff, and as always guys, I will be seeing you in the next video.